Hello everyone, I'm silentdeth, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Space Engineers, Episode 3. Last time, we built ourselves a solar array, and I learned something after I finished last episode. If you recall, when we turn these on, the game gets really shuttery. However, what I've learned is that these sensors have if you run them once, I think it might need a moment. Then we'll turn them back off. Alright, they're now off. Now, if you see here, it's actually set up the rotor. So we don't actually have to run them again. We can just leave them like this. And they will automatically track the sun all on their own. So we won't have to deal with a timer or anything and have to deal with that lag or anything like that. We can just leave them perfectly fine like this. Moving on, we've cannibalized our lander, completely cannibalized it. It's all gone. It fit inside this little cargo container. What little there was. We rebuilt our medical base so that we have a place to spawn, a place to recharge, very important. And we rebuilt our oxygen generator. I built this last episode, but I really didn't talk about it, and I feel that I should. You may be wondering, we're on a planet, it has atmosphere, why exactly would we build an oxygen generator? Well, the thing is, it's not really just an oxygen generator. They should probably change this name, but it will also produce hydrogen, which is what we use to fly around in our jetpack. They should probably change the name to something like a gas refinery or ice refinery, something like that. Would make more sense to people who are not familiar with the game. And being on a planet, we use lots of hydrogen, but it's not like ice is going to be a rare resource for us. This episode, the main thing we're going to be focusing on is getting some mining going. So what we shall do is we'll build our mining refinery and assembler over here. We'll need some steel plates, which we have. Go us. There we go. Takes that a moment to load with all the mods we have. So it might just be under production blocks. Assuming there is a category called production blocks. There we go. So refinery. And the assembler. We'll start with the refinery. And on the bottom of the refinery there is... It's hard to see it. It's actually kind of impossible to see it. There's this little square here, which is a conveyor connector, and it's on the same side as I think we're upside down now. Okay. It's right under this little connection here. So let's get rid of this. And we're going to want to connect this up with some conveyor tubes. We have some special modded conveyor tubes. All kinds of different ones. The ones we're going to be looking at is the armored conveyor. We want an elbow and probably a T-section. Maybe a 4-way. Let's go with the T-section. We can always change it later. So we will grind down the blocks here. Actually, I guess we need a straight section too, don't we? And the straight section will go. Let's check this again. I want it like this. No, I don't. Let's zoom out like this. That'll be better. That way I can actually see what I'm doing. So I want the back with the upgrade section, this, facing towards the back of our building. Which means this will be here. Like that. So we can grind this down. Get ourselves another armor block. Make sure it's properly colored by pressing Shift P. And then we'll just weld that. Crouch in here. Now we'll take, I think that's right. If we build it up a little bit, we can kind of see the outline of the block. Yeah. So right there. We'll probably need more blocks now, or more steel plates. So give us some more. We'll put our elbow there. We'll keep it colored the same as the floor. There we go. It's basically the same cost as a armor block and a conveyor together. So what was that? We needed some motors, some interior plates, I think. Bulletproof glass, motors, small steel tubes, construction components. Small steel tubes, construction components. That should be enough. There we go. For the assembler, you only see the things on one side, but you can actually put them on all four sides. So we're going to have this line up with the back of that, like so. Then we'll need kind of a temporary connection to keep it from floating off when we grind up the block that's underneath it. And we'll put in another elbow. Nice and shiny. Then we can put down the straight one to connect the two. Or I could use a T section here. Doesn't really matter. Looks pretty cool though. And we're done with this block. We'll also want a connection to this guy. So again, another temporary block. Then we'll have to grind it down from the side here. And actually, I guess we should change that other connector to be a T1. And this should be a corner one. So you go like that. We'll just have the straight one here. After a bit of fiddling, I realized that that was a four-way connector and not a T. So we'll just place the straight connector. And then we'll weld this all up. Everything is welded together. Our refinery is already trying to refine the scrap metal. You can see it's using quite a lot of power, which is more than we have, I'm pretty sure. So we will turn off one of these from recharging, which will give it enough power to produce a little bit of iron, very little bit. Now, in our assembler, if we just click on the production tab, we can build things, lots of stuff to build. We can even queue up blocks, queue up everything we need in a block, like say a conveyor air belt. And then if you mouse over them, you'll see, like I said in the first episode, we can get by with iron, nickel, and silicon. It's only a few special things like moving around that will need cobalt, wheels, and thrusters somewhere. Hydrogen thrusters. Also, we can disassemble things, but you don't get all the resources it takes to make something. You do get a fair amount. Being that we have things connected by the conveyor, we can just move things back and forth. So we're going to disassemble all of these extra tools. Give us a little bit of resources to work with. Keep one of the rocket launchers. Go to production, disassemble all. And that's giving us a few resources. Not a lot, but every little bit helps. Speaking of resources, what we shall do now is build ourselves a mining vehicle. I wanted to get these two built first so we can see how many resources we have left over to build our vehicle. Normally what you would do is just take one of these cockpits, slap on a drill and a few thrusters and call it a day. That's not really going to work for us. We don't have enough power to deal with that. Also, I realized that I kind of made a mistake here. Can set that back to recharging. We used all of our power cells right here, so we don't have any power cells left over to build some batteries for any kind of vehicle. We might need to melt down some components and then use that to produce the power cells it takes. iron, silicon, and a nickel. A fair amount, too, given how much that we've got left. So we only have about 2 point something silicon and 20 iron. Not a whole lot. What we will be building is going to be pretty basic, though. We're going to be building a mining truck instead of a mining craft or a mining ship. We're doing that because it's going to be a lot more efficient in terms of power usage. There's a few different ways we could go. We could, for instance, build something that just kind of sits on the surface and uses gravity to pull it down through the ground. That would work. We could build a truck that has a mining drill hanging down behind it so that it does literal strip mining, where you mine a strip off the surface and then you go down, do that again over and over and over. Both of those two ways would end up with us having a big giant pit right near our base, and I'm not fond of that idea. So instead, what we're going to do is build something that will tunnel down and then mine out underneath the surface. We'll start with a new small ship. Then some light armor blocks. Just kind of enough to get ourselves settled. We're not going to be going very fancy on this ship. We don't have the resources for it. And this ship will probably be retired very, very soon because of that. Now I want a cockpit. Alright, it wants that to be higher. Use some of our hydrogen up. I need interior plates, okay. Like so. And I think this has, yeah, so it has 2 conveyor belts on the sides there that we can use to pull the ore out. We'll want mining drill. Some conveyor hinges. I think we only want the small ones. Let's see what size yet. So those are the big ones. And there's a small one. Plus minus, that looks good to me. Right there on that little conveyor slot that's in the cockpit. Then on top of that, we're going to want a piston. We have the normal piston, we have a tiny piston, a long piston, a wide piston, another wide piston, and a long wide piston. Let's see what this wide piston looks like. Yeah, too big for us. We might go with a normal piston. Let's see how big that is. Yeah, that looks actually right about where we need. It's having some erectile difficulties. I couldn't help it. I had to say it. Okay, I'm not going to weld any of that. Let's get the tires taken care of. Wheels, probably to go with the smaller ones. Oh yeah, we need to first do weapons and tools, character tools. Make sure we have our tools set up. Then we'll do wheels. Assuming we can spell them, which we apparently cannot. So yes, a 3x3 one. I might want to go down a little bit further. Let's build this up and see what it looks like. It's also, I think it might be upside down. Okay. Welded this up. We had to be far enough away when placing this so that the wheels got placed too. Had to grind down the other ones and replace them. But we got 4 wheels. Looks pretty good to me. We need some power to control the conveyor hinge, which we don't have right now. We'll have to make do with something else temporarily. We're going to work on other parts of the ship though. Let's go with some more cargo and conveyor blocks. All kinds of nifty stuff there. First, we're going to probably want one of the medium cargo containers. There you are. We will want some conveyor tubes. Maybe one of those. Are there armored conveyor tubes for small blocks? There are. So we might want some of those too. I guess we can use the ones in... Oh, I've already deleted those. Alrighty then. A straight conveyor here, and a straight conveyor here. Probably really don't need both of them. Where are your connections, cargo container? So it has one on the side in the middle, which is not convenient. And we're going to want the cargo a little bit further back so that it counterweights things. So probably there. And then we'll just bow these out and have them come up the sides. But yeah, that makes things better. Don't want to accidentally grind down the wrong thing. So being a little bit gentle here. So we need to go up and out. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Let's get rid of these. That's a 4-way, not a 3-way. That's the T. Could connect them in the middle and then have it, well, that's kind of far. Okay, yes, we'll just do we'll connect them both. That is what we're going to do. Up. All welded up. Now we have a little bit of space here, which should be just enough for a battery. A normal vanilla battery. Of course, we don't have the power cells. We need 20 of them. And we also need to do something here. Let's take these two and unweld them, grind them down. And then we'll take some T connectors. Facing down. So one there, one one there, and then we'll have another one here facing up. And we're doing that because if we hop in here, we have no air if we're have our helmet off. We'll start dying. 93% health, 86. Yeah, that's not good. But don't do that. Don't ask me how I figured that out. It was not a pleasant experience. So we'll take an air vent. And plop it right on top of that. And that'll have some air for us. Now finally, to get some power, we're going to need a solar panel on top while it's still daylight, hopefully. And this will be a temporary measure until we get enough ore to finish our battery. So we'll just plop that down. If we can find a way to place it. There we go. Guess that's the best we can do. And we'll take the solar cells from here. One of these. Something that's not being charged, like you over here. Okay, where our inventory is full. We'll do that, we'll weld that, and be right back. Unfortunately, we were too late in the day. So we're going to have to actually figure out a way to make this battery. If we come over here. We need 35-ish iron, 2.67 silicon, and about 7 more nickel to make the 20 cells. So we can disassemble this for the silicon. For the iron and nickel, I think motors would give us a lot of the way towards that. I think I said I needed 7, so that's what, 4 motors? 6, let's try that. Then we'll turn this back on. So we have everything but the iron. So we'll just disassemble a couple of iron plates. Steel plates. And there we go. That'll give us enough to get us up and running. While we wait on that to finish, we're going to come around the back here. Build a large conveyor hinge. And then build another large conveyor hinge on top of that. This is so that we can back into a connector. Kind of hard to get it placed, right? There we go. We'll weld these up. Also hard to click on. Alright, so you should be finished. And thankfully we start with a little bit of power in our batteries. So that should be enough to get us off the ground. As long as we don't waste the power. There we go. We'll grind this down. There we are. Almost died again. Let's go ahead and turn on our helmet. We have negative mass apparently. I don't know how that works. Depressurize is on. So that should allow us to have air inside of our cockpit. all the conveyor hinges are going to be set with actually just these two. We'll set your braking torque to maximum. Velocity. First, let's set your upper limit to 0 and your lower limit to 0. And you can control click on the slider to type in a number. Then we'll set the velocity to something small like 0.1. And if that's going forward, that should take care of it. This one, the small conveyor hinge. We're going to set your velocity to -1. Your upper limit to 0. And your lower limit to -45. I'll also crank up the torque. Reverse it. There we go. Looks like we need some lights here too. Okay, what happened? Are the wheels not enough to hold that up? Really? I think I figured out what I needed to do. We have an option here called suspension travel. We drop that down. Then we can set the height offset. And that is much, much better. Much better. Now hopefully I can rebuild these. The wheels were in the way when it was on the ground. So I can do that. We'll put a gyroscope there. Or we already put a gyroscope there. Put one on the other side. Just for some symmetry. And I think that'll be okay. Should have enough weight on the back. We'll put some spotlights right here underneath the conveyor corners. On the sides. Okay, place it there. What about here? Okay, we'll put them there and here. Might want to raise that one. So there's going to be drills there. We'll see how that works first. And now, before we run out of power, let's go ahead and get the conveyor hooked up. Or the connector, I mean. We want the big one. We want it right here. We'll weld that together. We'll hop in here. Okay, we can't move. Yeah, I had the handbrake on. That's embarrassing. Okay, yeah, I think we'll keep this white. And we'll see what angles we need for this. Okay. Let's start with 20 degrees. Seems like a good idea. Conveyor hinge, that's the second one. So you need to go negative 20 degrees. And you need to go positive 20 degrees. Reverse you. May not have enough torque. Let's go straight up and go 45 degrees. Connector lock. Oh, there we go. Good. So let's take our battery, this one, set it on recharge, and then we'll have enough power to take care of that while we finish building our ship. For now, we'll get rid of the solar panel here in a moment. I think what we're going to end up doing is coming off of this with a with a T. It's not a T. The armor will hopefully keep it from breaking so easily. Come up with a T and we'll come out here one and here one. Then if we put some drills right on the side of this. Does that connect? Yes. Okay, so if we do this, we might need another one up top, but this should be enough to start digging our ramp down. Let me finish welding this. I'll be right back. Battery is charged. Drills are done. Well, the very last thing we need is this little detector here. See where we can sneak it in. I guess that's in the way there. Maybe above. Wouldn't be symmetrical. Put it there. So we'll put it right there. We'll weld it up. And then we are ready to go. Let's change our wheels to be the maximum height off the ground. That'll both help with connector and with drilling down. Now then we'll go towards our waypoint there. Might need to adjust the power a little bit more. Just a tiny bit. It was good to have it slow when we were docking, but now I want more power. Much better. As soon as our detector detects, we'll be ready to go. There's some nickel right there. That is high up on our list. So pretty much going down here. Drills on. this on. And then we'll let them grind for a little bit. Alright, yes, it's not in-game script, but we just put ore here so that all the ore is being collected in our cargo container. Helps keep us from flipping over. We also changed the angle on our hinge to be 30 degrees, which works much better. We'll start drilling down. Not going very fast. I don't want it to. Hopefully this is still shallow enough that we can get in and out. We'll let that drill a little bit more. And then let's reverse everything and see if we can actually go in that little hole and get out. I did put some atmospheric thrusters on the side so that we can go backwards with thrust if we need to. A little bit hard. Go after that nickel. Alright, we are digging now. I don't know how we're going to straighten back out. I guess I'll have to reverse the angle on it. But I think we're going to end this episode here. Like if you like. Subscribe if you're not. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. I do read all the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.